Now, we're glad to bring this to you. Hawks Head General Godfrey Lebeya has discussed a range of issues with the SABC's political editor, Mzwandile Mbeje.
These include VBS, the Phala Phala farm saga implicating President Cyril Ramaphosa, and perceptions that the Hawks play into factional political battles. Let's take a look.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. And of course, we're coming to you as the SABC from the head of the Directorate of Priority Crimes here in Pretoria. You know, many people know this unit as the Hawks, but of course its official name is the Directorate for Priority Crimes. We are having a conversation with General Godfrey Lebeya, who would really bring us up to speed with some of the investigations, some of the issues that they are involved in. And of course, in the past few weeks, they've been busy, and then they will then indeed tell us where exactly they are. General, very good to have you. Thank you very much again for agreeing to speak to us and updating the nation on the work you do. And of course, this is a thankless job. Would you agree with me?
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the invite. Indeed, it is a work that needs to be done by South Africans, and being part of the South Africans, I'm happy to be assigned this responsibility. Yeah, it is a challenging one, but I think that somebody somewhere needs to do it. Yeah. And with the support of the community, it is possible.
Well, in fact, I think your former colleagues feel you no longer are supposed to be here. What do you respond to that?
Yeah, I think that people have got their different views. It is always helpful that when you read the law, yeah, you read it correctly. And sometimes we make an error that when the law is passed, it is published in the government gazette. And then when the court, the constitutional court, to give a directive to change, to amend the law, if you are not going to correct your government gazette, you will keep on reading the things that have already been changed. And I hope that those who are making this argument are actually consulting the law and read in line with the constitutional court decision. They would understand that I'm here in terms of a contract that have got a starting date and an end date. I think that they might want to go and read the law again.
Oh, wow. I think with that out of the way, maybe we need to get into business. So you've been busy of late, and of course your mandate is very clear, priority crimes, because I think the country really needs to get itself into order in order to be able to be a prosperous country. And law enforcement is quite central to this. Are you happy with the kind of work that you've just been doing of late?
Yeah, the work that we have been doing, I think one is comfortable. With the COVID having actually relaxed, we are now able to move around. And looking at the arrests that we have been effecting lately, yeah, I think that you can see the commitment of the members. This is obviously being supported by the members of the public. Normally, we do not always know where to. The suspects are hiding themselves, what they are busy doing. We get this information from the members of the public. And I think that one is comfortable that there is a difference that is being done by the members.
Do you think you get enough support from authorities? Remember, I know that you were, I think, I wouldn't say complaining, but you were highlighting that there's still a number of vacancies that could still be filled, which will make it possible for you to do the work. Are you comfortable with the kind of support that you are getting from the authorities?
The authorities are supporting us. Yeah. As I speak now, there are panels that I have set up to start the selection process of more than 200 vacancies that the people have applied. Now is the time to select. And then the middle of this month, I will again be advertising more than 200 posts so that we can fill those vacancies. So the plan is that within a period of 2 years, we may have completed all the vacancies. The vacancies indeed were high because we have been operating at 50% staff complement, but with the support that I indicate that we are having, we will be able to fill this post. And this goes hand in hand with the training and the like. So our members, as I speak, some of them are out of the country dealing with those areas that we need to be enhancing, sharpening the skills. So one is comfortable with the current support from the various government departments.
In terms of the backlog, I know that you're talking about 200 vacancies that needs to be filled. In terms of the backlog of the cases that you need to chase, and I think I read somewhere it's 22,000. That's a huge backlog. So will you be able to catch up?
Yeah, the number of cases that when I was reporting, I said we have got 22,477 cases. This include the cases that we have already taken through that are serving before the courts. So the load itself is high, and then indeed when we increase the capacity, we will be able to deal with a number of them. But what we do in terms of the Police Act, we can also utilize the services of the members from other departments on duty arrangement secondment. Yeah. So the greater SAPS is able to also assist us when we need to be taking on specific investigation where we need a number of officials to be assisting us with some of the work. The work itself is high, the load is high, and which means that if you were talking on an average, it might be around 11 cases per member. But you know, the nature of the cases that we are dealing with here, one case does not need one member. Yeah. If you look at how we have been dealing with a case like VBS, a person might say there is only one matter of VBS. It means one investigator can be able to do that. But I must tell you that we have been putting more than 20 investigators to deal with this, and more than 2,000 statements that need to be put together, and then we already have taken more than 1,000. And if you look at the charges, actually the 188 charges that the suspects are facing is equal to 188 dockets. So you may say it's one matter, but within that particular matter there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and one must appreciate the hard work that the officials that were involved have put forward. So included in the team of investigators, we also do the secondment from the greater SAPS to assist.
In terms of budget, I mean, hearing you talking about these matters and how many they are, so do you feel you have enough budget to carry out all of this?
I think that the current budget, what we understand is that we need to really exhaust what we are currently having. And then so that when we ask for more, at least what we have has been utilized. The current budget is not sufficient to feed all the remaining posts. That's why I say that within a period of 2 years, we believe that we shall have filled. So with the current funds that we are having, we want to be filling the existing posts. And only when we have exhausted what we are having can we go and ask for more.
I mean, there are obviously many cases that you are chasing, and some of them may be very complex, and others need a thorough investigation. Your involvement in terms of perhaps assisting in the July unrest as Hawks?
Yeah, we are involved in the investigation relating to some of the crimes emanating from the July unrest. Yeah. And I think that from July last year, you shall have noted that the DPCI had arrested 8 suspects during that time, immediately after the incident. Those were the matters that were clear-cut cases, that the investigation is not complicated. But since then, we have not stopped the investigation. In fact, we have been meeting on a daily basis, looking at the activities, the development, the investigation. And until such time that we realize that now we have reached a stage where it will no longer be necessary to meet on a daily basis. Then we start meeting on a weekly basis. As I speak, today is the meeting which we do on a weekly basis. So we continue, and recently we have arrested additional 50 suspects. Unfortunately, the 50, the one that is supposed to be making 51 has passed on, but at least we have arrested 50. The investigation is continuing until everybody who have played a role in that incident can actually be accounted.
I mean, 50, which has been reported on. But I remember, and I know it's not necessarily you, but I think it was the minister, who basically said there were, I think, initial 12 instigators, so which were key, so which means people who were the mastermind behind the July unrest. Are they part of those, or perhaps it's people who may have committed some of those crimes? So the people you have arrested and are pursuing, are those the key people that were masterminding some of these things?
Yeah, you know, when we communicate from a policing point of view, we should be considering the fact that we are going to court. So during the investigation, we shall have looked at the activities of more than 500 individuals, and every information that was available at our disposal, we have looked at that. Some, you may find that there are certain activities that we suspect that they are involved in, but for us to take a matter to court, we need something that we are going to show in court that these are the allegations against this individual. We do not want to be ranking suspects. As long as you played a role, we will see when the matter is being presented at court. Are these considered to be the key role players? What role do they play? From which background do they come from? What type of profession are they pursuing? And I think that will become clear now that the individuals are appearing in court.
I'm asking this, General, because I think during the unrest, I think some of the startling claims were that you had individuals who were planning to bomb hospitals and blow up some of the gas pipelines. So that's why I'm asking in this fashion, are they part of the original instigators, some of the arrested?
Yeah, you see that it is normally how information comes. When information is coming, you don't discredit it. You work on it, assess it, analyze it. Are you in a position to take that information to go to court? Is somebody prepared to come and testify that this is actually what was planned to be happening? So investigation itself will continue. And even if somebody has not been arrested and that individual was involved in other sort of planning, the investigation will be continuing. What we are taking to court is what we have got readily available evidence that we know that if we present this, the court will be able to reach a conclusion either to acquit an individual or to convict.
Yeah. So I know we are not talking about your actual operations, but some of the individuals who may have been very public, let's say on social media, are those individuals being considered as well to have played a role?
Yeah, as I say, we looked at every activity that individuals have taken. Yeah. There are those that are considered to be generic comments. Yeah. There are those that are inciting others. So we gather all those and then I present before those who will go and prosecute in court. Is this sufficient? Yeah. If there are some areas that one is not comfortable, we leave it and continue with the investigation. So we have looked at all those. So more than 500 individuals that have been playing a role, we have looked at them. That is why it has taken us longer than necessary. So
in short, are there still going to be arrests, perhaps, of people who may have played that kind of a role, who may have been seen as instigating others through social media?
Yeah, the arrest that we have started has not yet been completed, so we are continuing. We will not be indicating how many others are outstanding, but the arrest is continuing. As I speak today, there are activities elsewhere, which I think that will reveal at some stage.
General, perhaps coming to the issue of arrest, some would accuse you, as the Hawks, not necessarily you personally, of not targeting perhaps high-profile individuals or even politicians. How would you react to that?
We are not targeting high-profile individuals. We are not targeting politicians. We look at the crime that is being committed. Whoever is the suspect, we do that without fear or favor. So we are not targeting any specific grouping. Ours is being guided by what is the complaint, is there evidence, and then who is the suspect. Then we deal with that one.
Perhaps talking about the issue and the complaint and the suspect, I think there is this issue which is in public, the issue around Phala Phala. I think I remember last time you said you were busy with investigations. Have you met with the president around the Phala Phala issue as part of your investigation?
You know that I normally read over the media that whenever you meet a particular complainant or a witness, there are people who like to be writing about it. And if we were to conduct our investigation in that fashion, I don't think that is an objective way of doing things. You know, some of the investigation that we do need to be protected. There are also witnesses that need not be known to have been providing a statement because of security measures. So what I have been prepared to tell the public at this stage was that indeed we have received a statement from the complainant. Based on that statement from the complainant, we conducted further investigation. We have so far obtained 50 statements. When I was doing the brief last time, I think we were about 41 statements. Then now we have moved. We have got 50 statements. So what I will not mention, what I will not hint is who are these witnesses that we shall have already met. So including whoever, I will not mention any of those that we are meeting. I think that the investigation needs to be protected, you know, so that you do not find a situation where we must now reveal who are the other 47 witnesses. If you have met the complainant and this one, who are the others? So we need to be protecting that one.
Well, I think in this instance, I'm direct on the president because, I mean, he's the head of state. This issue involves, I mean, the most important person in the country at the moment. So it's public knowledge. So in this instance, whether as a complainant or as a victim or as a witness, have you been able to speak to the president?
No, I think that let me not indicate who are the people that we have already approached. You see that generally, if a person is a witness, we will obtain an affidavit and file in the docket. So I will not mention who is the witness that we have obtained. If the person is a suspect, there are these constitutional requirements that we must do so that we warn the person accordingly. And once we do that, the suspected individual also have got the right to raise some concerns and the like. So I do not want to go in the public space and say that we have already approached whoever as a suspect or as a witness. Let's protect the credibility of the investigation at this stage. But let the public rest assured that we are not sitting at one place. As I have indicated, that we are gathering what we are reading about or what we are hearing about. We are not taking that as evidence. We have got to support by way of affidavit so that whoever is saying something that they have heard from others, we go to the one that they got the information from so that the credibility of a particular individual can be tested when the time comes. So for us, it's just to gather evidence, and then when we are ready, whoever is being mentioned will obviously be approached. But at this stage, I wouldn't like to hint who we have already approached.
So how far? Yes, you've said you've met, I think, 51, so which means you've done quite a lot. So is this investigation closer to completion, or we still halfway in terms of percentages? Are we saying we are at 90% or we are still at 50%? How would you characterize it?
You know, the investigation is a particular type of science.
Yeah.
That is, you are guided by the evidence that you gather on a daily basis. When you approach a particular witness, it might not be the end with that witness. That witness might mention other people that you may need to go and clarify the issues that have been stated. So until you have met the last witness, you do not assume that I am only going to get 100 statements, then the investigation will be completed. Then you might be misleading yourself. There are other directions that might be pointed out, which unless you touch on those, your investigation will not be complete. So I do not want to say at this stage that this is how much is outstanding in the investigation. And obviously, even when we feel as investigators that we have obtained everything that is needed, you may find that the prosecutor who's going to look at this matter might say that, but I still need clarity on this aspect. Can you approach that particular person again and clarify this issue?
Having obtained all those statements, that evidence, do you believe maybe preliminarily a crime was committed at Phala Phala, for example?
I think that what we know is that there has been thought of burglary and theft, so that is a crime. And who has committed that, we will come at some stage. So we do not want to say that no crime was committed, because we as the police, we register a case when we believe that a crime has been committed. So as the complainant have made in his affidavit, there are allegations that are being painted. If those are true, then it means that a crime has been committed. So ours is to investigate the allegations to determine as to whether this is true or not. And then we get whatever evidence is needed, and the prosecutor will be the one who will say, But I'm convinced that I might decide to pursue this further and prosecute on the instant of the state. And if the prosecutor decline to prosecute based on some of the content of the case, the complainant might be given an opportunity to say, if you want to pursue this privately, you are welcome to do that. But it's an open system. It's a fair process that allows anyone who's not satisfied with the product on the table to pursue it further.
Perhaps let's also come to the issue of the Guptas. So your involvement, or where are you in relation to perhaps, I know there are departments that would be involved in terms of, let's say, getting them back, but as the Hawks, so where are you in relation to them? So are we any closer to seeing them in the country? And your case, do you think it's strong enough to be able to take off?
I think with regard to the matter that you are raising of the Guptas, we have been investigating that matter. And then with the establishment of the investigative directorate in the National Prosecuting Authority, they have requested that they would like to handle that case. So we have handed over the case to the NPA. The ID is now conducting that investigation. What we have done was to provide our investigators, 15 investigators are placed in the ID to continue with that investigation. So I will not talk about that case. It will not be proper. I think that we can just wait for the ID and the NPA to finalize whatever needs to be finalized. So although our investigators are there, I wouldn't want to be talking on behalf of the investigators, whereas the matter is handled by the NPA.
In terms of the state capture people, so as the Hawks, I think there's been a lot of information coming out of state capture. So are there people you are pursuing that have been mentioned in the state capture?
Yes. Of all those 172 recommendations that the state capture required law enforcement agencies to pursue, we are part of those. Of course, you'll understand that the majority of this will be handled by the ID. We will handle those that the ID is not handling. So we are working closely with the ID in the NPA and with other law enforcement agencies. So we are tackling those. So there are matters that we are currently handling, and I think that we shall make some pronouncement that some activities will be happening this month. And already some of them the NPA may have already indicated, but indeed we are handling those matters.
Let me get you very correctly here. You are saying, General, so this month we are likely to see some of the arrests flowing from the state capture.
I think that we have made that indication. So this is that month.
And this is September we're speaking about.
This is September.
Well, fortunately, I'm speaking to you and I have access, so I'll ask you again at the end of the month if I see nothing.
All right.
And then, what do you say to those who perhaps say you tend to overreach and like, you remember the Scorpions were disbanded, and then because they were accused of overreaching, you know, all those kind of style. So you've gone back to that kind of way of operating. What would be your comment? Quick comment.
I wouldn't agree with that. It is also not very much clear, the overreach, but you know, some people have been painting a picture like you are securing the attendance of accused person in court through the Hollywood style, which I don't know if you are referring to that. But we have not been doing that. We have been securing the attendance of suspects silently in court, which is why it necessitates us to come and brief the nation. Or this is what we have been producing before court. So we are not doing that every day. Literally every day we secure the attendance of accused person in court. We arrest. We serve notices on them. The cases are receiving. There is no day that you will not see a matter handled by the DPCI at court.
In terms of also these accusations that tend to be leveled against you, to say you do tend to be factional. So in your approach to these cases, how would you respond to that?
I'm not sure which faction that will be.
That would be the ruling faction that would benefit.
Yeah, normally, we never ask, we are not even understanding the factions. Individuals will obviously be belonging to some political parties. Within political parties, there might be differences. But for us, we look at the crime and the suspect. Whoever belong anywhere, we are not interested in that. So, but ours is guided by the available evidence. So we don't discriminate. We are not factional. We are not aligned to any political party nor a faction within a political party.
Well, General Lebeya, there was a great conversation we had there. Fortunately, you've opened the doors that time and again will interact, and flowing from some of the things that you've said, so we'll want to do some of the follow-ups, and then we really appreciate the time you gave us, and I'm sure going forward you'll be able to update the nation on the work you do. Thank you very much, General.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the fact that you will update the nation.
Thank you. Well, that is General Godfrey Lebeya of the Hawks, basically talking to us on a range of issues. The Hawks have been busy of late doing a number of arrests. But of course, the arrests could be made. I think what South Africans want to see is justice at the end, because they feel perhaps their safety at the moment is not really that guaranteed.
That's our political editor there, Mzwandile Mbeje, in conversation with Hawks Head General Godfrey Lebeya. And quite a lot coming out from that interview, Francis. You think about the Hawks, really some saying that we're going back to the era of scorpions, but he says that you haven't seen the Hollywood-style arrests. He's talking about instigators that we just saw people in court. So we haven't really been parading those people that have been arrested. And quite interestingly, he talks about the factional battles, saying that for them it's about the evidence at their disposal, but certainly not about playing factional battles within various political parties.
I guess we can just be heartened that there have been those appearances in court, but then of course it moves to the MPA saying that there would be high-level people seen to be in the right place, on the platform or in the dock. So we'll follow that very closely, but a great chat.